everyone. Welcome back to the CrossWinds Church More Than Sunday podcast. My name is Chris Coley. I'm the senior pastor here at CrossWinds, and you're joining us today for another episode of a series we're doing called Get to Know a CrossWinds Volunteer. We're doing these every once in a while. Today, you're going to have a chance to get to know one of our middle school leaders, Todd Cunningham. Excited for you to hear about Todd, how long he's been serving in middle school ministry, what that's looked like, all of that good stuff. Enjoy this. All right, everybody, I'm here with Zach Hamstra, our middle school director, and none other than one of his most famous volunteers in our middle school ministry, Todd Cunningham. Todd, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, guys. Yeah. I don't know if I'm famous, but I'm there. So
you're middle school famous, buddy. You're middle school famous.
Okay, you're famous. Let me gloat on Todd here for a second.
Please, yeah.
He's so fantastic. Todd is one of our all-star leaders in middle school ministry. Every week shows up and leads a group of just middle school boys. If you can imagine what that looks like to lead a group of middle school boys in deep conversation, or at least trying to get them beyond Legos and talking about farts and things like that. It was funny. We had a little joke recently where we had a student cough to cover up a fart, and now we're saying that students are farting to cover up coughs. They don't want the other students to know that.
Yeah, we named it after that student, if I remember, but we won't name that student.
Yeah, we're not here to call anybody out, but
no, definitely not.
Todd is just one that brings energy and just so much fun to our ministry, always looking to give students a high five when they show up, calling everybody out by name. You probably know him just from him yelling across the courtyard on a Sunday morning. And he's just been fantastic in our ministry, and he's just a big middle schooler at heart. It's so great to have him and be a part of the team.
Todd,
thank you guys. Wow.
How long have you been doing middle school ministry?
Gosh, at least 20 years. I kind of, I'm trying to remember when we reached, because Cindy and I have been at CrossWinds kind of like 2 times now.
Yeah.
We started out at the old school. You can tell how long ago we were. We started helping out when Carol was the children's pastor.
Wow.
Yeah, so I did kindergarten because they needed help with kindergarten, and then Cindy did pre-K. So we did that for a while before we moved away to North Carolina, to Connecticut for 9 years, and then we moved to North Carolina for 5.
Yeah.
So I kind of started doing middle school in North Carolina. So probably at least 20 plus years ago. It was kind of one of those. It was kind of one of those. It was definitely a God moment. It's like we were new to Christ before we moved there. So we went from our church here to Crossroads. So I'm going to get confused with the CrossWinds, Crossroad. Then we went to North Carolina. It was Cross Point. So we've got all the.
Oh my gosh.
So we went from our church to Crossroads. And at the time, they were meeting at a middle school. So it was like 50 people.
Yeah.
So basically, I kind of went there. We're at a middle school. I saw a couple guys playing basketball. And if you know me, I enjoy basketball. So I'm thinking, well, these kids are playing basketball afterwards. I'm definitely going to join them and play basketball.
Yeah.
So it just kind of went from there. We didn't have a high school or middle school ministry at the time. I just kind of hung out with them, did what God, taught me. Biblically, they knew leaps and bounds way more than I did. Cause there was the pastor's kid there, and then there was other people. They knew more about God than I did. So
pastor's
I basically,
kids. They're all know-it-alls.
Well, I'm not going to say, but I just basically kind of hung out with them. We went to Willow Creek one time. I bought a middle school book there at their bookstore.
Yeah.
Kind of basically faked it until we hired this guy Tom Kay, who biblically was meant to be a middle school pastor. He he had the credentials and all that. So
what passage is that talks about the biblical credentials for middle school
oh,
specifically?
I don't know which one that is.
It's all good, man. It's all
No,
good. I don't think
no,
they're.
no, that was good. That
That
was good.
doesn't
I like that one.
exist.
You called me out. I like that one. That was good.
No.
No,
I think
yeah,
it requires a lot of talking about farting, from what I could tell so
right.
far.
Well,
And then
well,
our last podcast, Zach, was
right.
vomit. It was 2
Yeah.
vomit stories. So
Yeah, that was
I'm
good.
going to be getting a reputation on this podcast right now about just gross things.
Yeah. So
Todd,
Todd and
wait,
I-
Todd,
oh,
fast
go
forward a little bit. So
Okay.
when did you get back to CrossWinds and start working in our middle school ministry?
Gosh, we've been back 9 plus years ago.
Wow.
So
And you've been doing it since you got back, I think, right?
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, because I had when we were in Connecticut, I kind of figured out middle school was where I needed to go, and started doing that. And then we went to to North Carolina for 5 years. Continued doing it there. Came back. So when there was yeah, I know. Matt. Zach's trying to do the math. I don't know how many years, but anyway. So
It's easy in the double digits. You've been
Right.
doing it for a long time.
You've been doing it a
Oh,
long time. I think
I'm
that's
doing-
our point.
I'm doing it at least 20 years, at least.
It takes a special
Yeah.
calling to do this. Like
20 years.
this is not the easiest group of people to work with in the world. And
No.
what is it that draws you to it? I mean, how do you not get drained and tired and want to get? I know you have a daughter in middle school right now, right? She's in her last year in middle school.
Yeah, last year, yeah, she'll be.
But you were doing this long before she was in it. I mean,
Oh yeah, long before.
What's drawn you to it?
God just led me to hang out. Like I said originally, with
Yeah.
the middle school guys, just kind of hanging out there. I think it was just God just put them on my heart. They were kids that were just hanging out, and I just kind of went with there. It wasn't something I just kind of rolled with what God
Yeah.
wanted. I
No,
felt
no,
more
here-
comfortable. I think a lot of times I enjoy hanging out with younger kids more than adults.
Yeah,
No offense
Yeah.
to you as an adult, but
it's all right. It's all
but
good.
One of the things that I noticed, especially as kind of leading the middle school ministry out and Todd's like gifts, is that he really does connect with our middle school students in ways that they're like friends. It's really cool to see.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun for me.
Yeah,
to get
I will
to-
show up on a Wednesday night, drop my daughter off, and Todd is out there playing basketball with guys, or gaga ball, or throwing a ball
Sure.
around. I mean,
Right.
you're out there having fun with them, and you're so engaged that way. I think it's one of the things that's so special about you.
Well, thank you.
So right now you're wearing a Denver Broncos hat.
Yes,
Uh,
I'm wearing a
and
Denver Broncos hat.
What's the connect? How in the world? Why are you a Denver fan?
Well,
Of all the places you've listed,
well, my sports teams are where I live. So
okay,
as a kid, I lived in Colorado. Gosh, way before middle school. So I had a dad that worked for Holiday Inn. So we
Mhm.
moved a lot. So I was born in the East Coast. Moved to I think 7 or 8 different states. So
oh my gosh, wow! So you got a team everywhere then, basically.
well, pretty much. I think with the Broncos, we lived in Castle Rock for a while.
Yeah.
My dad took me to a game there. I kind of followed him there. So this was, you can tell how old I was. This was when they were in their first Super Bowl, like Super Bowl 10 with Craig Morton and the first Dallas Super Bowl. So I'm really old if you remember back then.
So and I know you're a Celtics fan from so that must have been from your time. Did you live in Boston?
Yeah, I was born in DC, lived in the East Coast. I still have cousins and uncles and stuff so that was kind of the Larry Bird era of
Yeah.
the Celtics. So
Speaking of Larry Bird, here's a great Todd story.
Oh, good.
Todd. Well, first of all, one of the things about Todd and Cynthia is their daughter goes to the same school that my kids have gone to.
yes.
And Halloween, they usually have this parade where you all dress up, or your kids dress up, and you go watch the kids parade on the
Right.
blacktop.
Okay.
And Todd and Cynthia have often dressed up for that parade in coordinating costumes. I believe more often than not, I think I've seen you in the Cruella de Vil and Todd the Dalmatian
Yes, that has been one
Halloween
of them.
outfit.
Sure.
I'm trying to think of what other ones you've had.
They were Stranger Things this year. They did like
were
a whole
you?
Strangers.
We were the Stranger Things. Lexi wanted to do that with
the
us,
Chips Ahoy.
so we were
Yes.
the two characters from Chips Ahoy, and Cindy was cross gender as Dustin. So
Got it. Got and then I believe you've got a Larry Bird costume. Am I
well,
correct?
I wouldn't consider it a costume. It's a jersey that I've had for years and shorts. So
Do you wear, yes or no, do you wear like a blonde wig when you're in
yes,
that?
actually, that actually is to make it even funnier. That is actually an old Christopher Robin wig that I have that Lexi was Winnie the Pooh as a kid. So
So here's the story, man. I think this was before I knew you, but like 2 days ago, I have not been on Facebook for years. I'm so done with Facebook. And I I ran across a news article that was like, here is how to transfer all your photos and videos off of Facebook and onto your Google Photos. So
okay,
because I'm never going back to Facebook. I don't need them there anymore. I'll just move them over, right?
sure.
So I did it, and I decided at the end of the day to go onto Google Photos and see what videos it
Oh, no.
moved over, because I'm like, I wonder if I already had these.
Okay.
And I have a long distance, far away video of me looking at a guy dressed as Larry Bird shooting baskets and doing layups, and me saying under my breath as I'm videoing this, if you're wondering what Larry Bird's up to these days. Here he is at Joe Mitchell's school, just getting some reps in.
Well, hey,
and now I know it was you. I don't think I knew it at the time. I don't think I knew you yet.
That's funny.
God, shooting layups as Larry Bird for years now.
I'll have to send you the video, man. It's so grainy. It's so far away. It's got to be. It's got to be 9 years old. It's got to be really old.
Right. So you can really say it is Larry Bird. Larry Bird lives in California now. So
Does he really?
No.
Oh, okay. I was going to say.
No.
So how are you guys hanging in there with no sports right now? Has it been hard, or are you?
Yeah, it's hard. I still, as you guys are probably watching the Last Dance.
Yeah. Are you watching it? Did you watch it?
Oh gosh. Oh yeah. I haven't. I got to the last. I watched number 9 last night. I haven't watched 10 yet, but yeah,
I didn't watch 9 and 10. Don't ruin it for me. If they break up, I don't want to know.
No. Well, you kind of know how it's going to end, so it's not like you kind of know the Bulls are going to win the championship. But spoiler alert from 30 years ago.
Yeah.
But I actually, speaking of what we're doing now, is I listen to a basketball podcast, so they've been talking about that, and I think you and I have talked about our love of Bill Simmons.
Yes.
So he does a like on Sunday night or Mondays, he'll talk about the previous episodes and does all kinds of rewatchables and that kind of stuff. So
go ahead, Zach.
Oh, I was just gonna say I'm still living off the NFL draft from 3 weeks ago.
Oh gosh, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Waiting
Anything we can get right now. I watched golf yesterday. I watched they had like a skins match on in Florida with social distancing. It's like the first golf that's been on that I can tell in 3 months.
Well, and the NASCAR officially started this weekend, right? They went back.
I think it did too.
Yeah, so
it's hard for me to think of NASCAR as a sport, though.
Yeah, I have that issue with people. I'm into I don't consider it a sport, but then I get ridiculed by NASCAR people. Like, well, they are athletes. I'm like, well, all right,
Sure.
They're as much of an athlete as a jockey is an athlete.
Right. Well,
right.
Right. I mean,
is that fair to say? Like, I don't know.
Right. Yeah. It's like a bowler. Is a bowler really an athlete? I mean,
If bowling is a sport and I can eat curly fries while bowling, count me an athlete, all right? Because I think I'm in for that. Like, sign me up. That's good training right there.
Yeah, I heard a comedian, I don't know who it was, Jim Gaffigan or something, talked about that. It's like, if it's really a sport where you can eat and then drink beer and get better at it, is it really a sport?
One of my other favorite things about Todd, in a message about, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 months ago, I brought up this TV show that I had been watching called Cobra Kai. Did you actually watch the show, Todd?
Oh gosh. Oh
Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, of
And
course.
Cobra Kai is like the continuation of the Karate Kid movies, kind of picking up like 30 years later. And them like what would happen if in fact I don't want to give it away because if people haven't watched it, half the fun is not even realizing it's a continuation until you
Right.
start to see characters and
Sure.
events and things get called back to. So I won't say
I
much more
have
about it.
not. I haven't watched it yet, so don't
Oh
ruin
my
it for
gosh,
me,
you got to
Chris.
watch it. It's on YouTube TV.
Yeah,
So
it's YouTube Red, so you may have to pay for it. But yeah, I don't know if they.
although I think now they've put it on with commercials.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, at least the first couple seasons. So anyway, Todd came up to me and he gave me a comic book, like issue number 1 of Cobra Kai, which is still in my bag, by the way. And I keep going. Oh, thanks, Todd. I'm gonna have to read this sometime when I think about it. And I finally read like on the plane about 2 months ago the first like 7 or 8 pages, and then I got distracted and had to put it away so I didn't spill something on it or whatever. But I love that about you. You like the same things I like. You know what I
Thank
think
you.
it is? There was a game back when I was on Facebook that people would play. It's not like Words with Friends. What was it? It's like Songpop or some kind of music trivia
Songpop.
game.
Yeah, yeah. Songpop. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
How did remind me how the game works? What happens on that game?
It's they ask you a question like who sings "Sympathy for the Devil," and then they give you 4 choices, and then you have to answer it. So you have to answer it as fast as
They play a
possible.
clip. They play a clip, don't they?
Um,
I think they.
I can't remember. They might have, or they might have, but yeah, they might play it. But you have to answer it as fast as you can, and the faster you get it, the more points you get.
And then like so you'll compete against 100 people that you're on
Yeah,
Facebook as friends with.
random
But
people. Yeah, yeah.
then like once you finish competing against someone, they can challenge you with another category like 90s rock or
Yeah,
like
exactly. Or
80s glam band or
exactly,
whatever.
exactly.
And
Sure.
I always loved the ones that Todd would send me because I was like, this guy is sending me my music, and he would beat me. Very few people I
Right.
felt like were as good as Todd when I would play.
Well, I have a couple of podcast friends that they destroy me. So, but I
Yeah.
music is one of my nerdiness things that I love. My brain is filled with way more rock knowledge than it should be. But yes, so
Yeah, it's all right. There's nothing wrong with that.
no,
That's
no,
just
it's not.
that's one of the things we like about you.
Oh,
All
well,
right,
thank you.
so Todd, tell us. We are at the 17-minute mark, and our
Okay.
goal with these podcasts is to be at about 15 tops.
Okay. Whoops.
But there's so much we could talk about with you. Tell us about your job. You work at Open Heart Kitchen, and for people here who have not heard of that in the Tri Valley, can you explain what Open Heart Kitchen is and does?
Sure. Yes. Open Our Kitchen is a nonprofit organization. We help out the seniors and the homeless in the community by feeding them lunch, food, uh, that kind of stuff. So my job is changed since the whole virus thing, but my job title is driver slash site supervisor. So originally, before everything happened, I would deliver Monday through Wednesday. I would deliver food to the 3 senior centers in Livermore, Dublin, and Pleasanton.
Yeah.
I used to on Tuesday and Wednesday I would deliver to Ashbury Church. Ashbury Church was doing a luncheon for the homeless, but there was a possible. It ended up being one of the volunteers that we had got a test, got tested for the corona. His doctor told him no, that he was negative. But as the day that I was there, he got called from the doctor saying that they were wrong and he does have the corona. Yeah.
Wow.
So what had happened was the crazy thing. This was like early March. I got a call. I got text from my boss saying, "Todd, please don't go to Ashbury," and that's all the text said. And I'm driving back from Ashbury, so I'm about to turn on to
You had
Stanley.
already gone.
I'd already gone, right? So I was like, "Oh crap, I got to pull over," and they call, and then she told me this whole thing. I'm like, I've already left.
Yeah.
So basically, I was shut down. This was like a Tuesday. I was shut down for the rest of the week. They had me stay at home, tested me. I shouldn't say they tested me. They basically had me check my temperature, make sure I was fine, which I was. But what happened is we shut down Ashbury then. So, and then basically we changed everything where it went down from to having volunteers to no volunteers at all. Because with,
So,
go ahead.
so what's Open Heart Kitchen doing now? Then, are you still able to serve food right now?
Yeah, we're still doing food. We just don't have volunteers. We basically on bare bones. We've got people from basically from Pleasanton helping out in the kitchen that were working for the city of Pleasanton, and they were doing all kinds of random jobs. They were doing stuff for the kids, and then we have people in the city of Dublin is doing the Dublin Center. So it's
Yeah.
kind of different now. So before I was bringing, I would deliver the food in what's called a Cambro. It's basically just two containers of food that are on wheels. I strap it into the truck, deliver it to the center. So
Mm-hmm.
before I was going into the center to give them the food and their excess stuff like milk or if they wanted rags or aprons or whatever. But now it's basically I'm just meeting them at the door. Here's
Got
some
it.
stuff, transferring as much as we can, trying to be as less social distance as we can. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, with something that we do, we can't do that.
Can't get around it. Yeah.
Can't get around that. So
It's got to be really fulfilling to know that you're that hands on, coronavirus or not, in helping kind of bring food to people who need it.
oh yeah, it's as I've said to many people, including Zach, it's the best job I've ever had.
Yeah.
Just to do that, and with the whole Corona, which bugged me, not bugged me, but was different, is we had to stop the bag lunch. We would do bag lunch program for the local schools. So Joe Mitchell would be one of the schools. So we would do all the three Dublin, Livermore, Pleasanton schools. We along with the volunteers would bag like 2,800 bag lunches. So
Yeah.
just little stuff like milk juice, apple, orange, little stuff that we would go. You've seen those bags at Joe Mitchell probably with Quinn and Kennedy.
Yeah. On Fridays.
Yeah, on Fridays. So we would do it
Yeah.
at Thursday, and then I would deliver Livermore on the Livermore schools, and then we had another volunteer that did um, Dublin and Pleasanton. So obviously now we don't do that. So now I'm delivering Monday through Friday, and just basically jack of all trades. I'll deliver for them, and then I'll go to Cheetah and pick up some food, or whatever. Basically, whatever needs to be done, kind of thing. So
Yeah. Ty, that's awesome, dude. Thank you for your doing that and continuing to do it in the middle of a pandemic. It's a big deal. And thanks for your work with our middle school students, Todd. It's also a big deal. We're really grateful for your longevity here and the time you've been serving in that ministry. You've been in that ministry through a handful of different middle school directors and pastors. In fact, let's just talk about Zach for a second. Zach Hamstra, great middle school director or greatest middle school director?
no comment.
Oh,
I'm
what does
kidding.
that
I'm
mean?
kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh,
No, I'm kidding.
oh man, that's
No, 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 no,
Chris.
no,
Don't listen to him. I'm doing a great job. I'm just
no,
telling you
no.
right now.
No.
Zach, you are doing a great job.
Zach,
I'm just
no,
messing with you.
Zach is doing a great job. Zach knows how I care for him. I tell Zach all the time that I'm glad that God has put us together. We are 20 years apart age wise, but mentally we're about the same way. And I mean that the best. I mean that in the best way possible. But
Yeah,
I just
Take it.
it's just something that God leads me to do, and as you know, Chris, in your job there, it's a ministry that doesn't stay consistent. I mean, I started out with Chris, and then I went to Les, and then
yeah.
you know
A lot of
Ed
years,
and
man.
all that.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
If I have a second to talk about middle school again for a second, we actually just did. We released our Minecraft server yesterday. We got all
Yeah.
those surveys that I was talking about last time I was on the podcast, and one of the things that people are excited about is Minecraft, and we heard that and we didn't wait. We just put it right into action, and currently, right now, there's about I want to say 10 middle school students and middle school fourth, fifth grade students playing Minecraft with each other
That's so
online.
cool. That's good. That's really good.
no,
All right, guys.
okay.
No, I was gonna wrap up. If you want to say something, Todd, do it.
No, to be all honest with Zach, Zach has done amazing job for middle school, and especially with the way the situation is, us doing the Zoom meetings and everything we are through. Zach has done an amazing job. Zach knows how I care for him, but I want to,
Thanks, Todd.
You're trying to backtrack now. I love it.
No.
He's like, I don't want to lose Zach.
No.
We all think the world of Zach,
No,
and
Zach
actually, we've been fortunate to have a string of really great middle school directors over the years who then go on to do other wonderful things. Chris planting a church in Oakland, and Aaron Horner, who was here for a while and is still here now in a different role, and So I hope Zach stays in middle school a long time, but I'll be excited when he's done to see what else God does with him. So, all right, guys. Thank you both. Todd, you're the best, man. Appreciate you coming on.
Thank you so much. I was honored to be included in this.
All right, guys. See ya.
Bye.